So when I was elected mayor in 2019, Miss Dorothy Evans was the chairman of the planning committee, and that was one of the first things she asked me is, can we have a Black history celebration in February? And I was like, absolutely, let's get on it first. You know, we only got a couple of months to plan it since I was elected in November. So this will be the 5th year, and it's growing every year, and it's always a big hit with the town, and a lot of good food, a lot of good times, and some great entertainment, and a couple of speakers going to be here today, pretty popular in the area, so we're looking forward to it.
You mentioned it's growing every year. This has become one of the more popular events. And
It absolutely has. To be inside, it's very crowded. Some of our other events outside, you can't tell the crowd, but you know you got a crowd here today. So yeah, we've had the auditorium here at Watkins Community Center. We've had it packed out for the last 2 or 3 years. First year was a trial run, and it turned out well, but we've grown since then. So this is becoming one of our bigger events in town.
Hi, my name is Chris Sally. I'm a local community organizer here in Anderson County.
tell me why you're here today.
So I actually learned at last year's event that I was the first Black valedictorian at BHP. And so I think that's kind of what opened the door. But as the mayor said, I ran for State House in 2022. And then really since then, I've stayed involved in my community. So I saw this as an opportunity to remain connected, and I obviously took it.
Why has it been important to you to stay involved in the community?
Well, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't the last Chris Sally here in Honea Path. And so I think that for me means that I remain involved and make sure that I can do anything I can to share my experiences and make sure that everything I've gone through is both passed down to others, but then also like it's used for progress. And so I think that's one of those things where I often am told like, oh, you're one of the few young people, we need more young people like yourself. And so for me is like, how do I use my experience to help open that door?
And what are you going to talk about today?
So actually it's about progress. And I think for me it was like, how do we get to that point of feeling progress instead of just being told that we've made progress? And so I'm excited to dive in, and hopefully the audience agrees with me.
Could I have everyone's attention, please? Thank you all for being here at this time. I'd like to introduce Ms. Dorothy Evans. She is the chairman of the planning committee, which puts all these events together. Ms. Dot?
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to see all of you here today, and thank you for coming today. I'm glad to have you. This is Black History Week, and they give us just 28 days, but we got all 12 months, right? Okay. We're going to start our program off today. The mayor going to sit down. That's Mayor Christopher Burton, but he's going to give you the occasion. And over there, I got I had a subcommittee. The ladies that helped me, and they worked hard with me. And one gentleman back then, I think I gave him the worst time. And that's Sam. But he's smiling, so he forgive me. But anyway, today I cooperated into our program, the school, because what? They are growing up and they are going to take our place. At the first graders in the elementary school, they had a contest and it was about hair. I included the middle school, and their project was art. That means drawing. They had to draw Black figures. Okay, last year one drew me, but not this year. Then on the high school, there was essays. And the essays was one of the saying, the topic that they had to write on was one of the saying of Dr. Martin Luther King. So let's just see how they feel about that. But I'm telling you all, we want to be on our best behavior. I know I'm a late runner, but we got some good smelling food back there for you all. And my helpers, and Miss Jenny volunteered, but I'm gonna let Chris tell you more about it. You know, everybody know Miss Jenny Ruth? She's a part of my life. Yeah, ever since I moved to Honey Path, Miss Jenny was working along with me. And then we got Miss Gwen, and we got Ruby, and then there's Miss Dorothy back there in the back, And somewhere there's Diane. I don't know where she's hiding. And is, well, why aren't you standing? See, they don't follow my rules. But in the meantime, now right now, I'm gonna let Chris, which is our mayor, tell us about the occasion, okay?
Mr. Trivia, thank you so much. Back in 2019, when first elected, Ms. Evans talked with me about creating a planning committee. I was completely on board with this, with her ideas and plans. She asked if we could start with a Black History celebration, something Honey Path's never had. Of course, I was extremely pleased with this idea and thought it would be received well. We got started planning. I was stressing about the crowd that first year, if we had enough seats or if we had too many seats out. That event went really well, and it was planned very well. Since that event, that first event, these celebrations have only grown and gotten better with more vendors, more entertainment, more events for you all to enjoy, and food, of course. This time, I'd like to recognize Honey Path's council. Of the 6, only one is missing today. He is traveling to North Carolina to have a medical procedure done. So if I could, Miss Marie Jenkins, Ward 2, 4. Miss Sheila Caldwell, Ward 2, excuse me. Miss Dot, Ward 5. Earl Ashley, Ward 1. And I apologize, I forgot, Miss Parrott also had a prior engagement that she was attending today, so she's not in attendance either. Thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's event and the food that has been prepared for us.
I also want to remind you all that we have a museum, and the museum has some Black history exhibits in there. It's one of our older teachers, which was Miss Wilkerson. She's got information, and you'll see things that pertain to all of us, not only the Black, the white too. And I would like for you to, after the celebration here, we wanted to go and view the museum. And Miss Freda and the ladies that runs the museum will be in there to help you. And there is tapes, DVDs that say between the lines, and we'll tell you some things after the lines. So don't forget to go to the museum. They'll be waiting. And there's some tapes up there, DVDs that you can purchase if you choose to do so. Okay? So don't forget about the museum. And Louise Walker, everybody know Louise Walker, right? If you don't know her, she's over there with the mask on, and she can tell you about everything about history that you might want to ask. All right, so next, because they said, don't be long, didn't they? Because they're ready to eat. I know you've been in church. I'm ready to eat too. All right. At this time, we're going to have the introduction by Marie Jenkins of Chris Sellers.
Good afternoon. It is my honor to be able to introduce Chris Sally, who is the son of Marcy Williams, a teacher at Honey Path Middle School. Chris was raised in Anderson County and a proud graduate of BHP, and he became the school's first Black valedictorian in 2011, which is a huge honor. After earning his undergraduate degree in finance and economics from New York University, he spent 3 years in investment research before shifting his focus towards supporting nonprofits and tech companies dedicated to social good. Ultimately, Chris's commitment to his community led him to run for State House in 2022 and lead the Anderson County Democratic Party in 2023. Currently, Chris is channeling his energy into developing his sustainable pig and goat farm while contributing his insights and experiences to the boards of PFLAG Anderson and the South Carolina Progressive Network. He remains dedicated to community service and is committed to fostering positive changes through his advocacy of here in Anderson. So if y'all will welcome Chris.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Jenkins, and thank you so much, Ms. Dot Evans, for for inviting me here today. And I will just share with y'all, she asked me to talk on how Black people have progressed. And honestly, I found it hard to answer. You can ask my mom. She asked me last weekend, you know what you're going to say? And I said, no. But I found it hard because on one end, I get that Black people aren't slaves. We can vote. And yeah, there's a big one. We had a Black president. But yet, on the flip side, Black women like my sister and cousin are still more likely to die in childbirth in the state. And yes, I feel like I've tried to do everything right. Who cares I've gone to good schools or have a good job or I still listen to my mom? I'm still a Black man who's been stopped and frisked for no reason. And so, and then now this is something that's really close to my heart, but yes, we can say schools are integrated, but as we speak, there's a kid in Texas who is being kept out of the classroom for having locks like mine. Have we really made progress when we can't be ourselves? And so I had to ask, have we made progress? And so I'm actually asking everyone in this room, how many people are happy with the amount of progress that you've seen for the Black community? And I'm not going to wait too long there because I don't want to belabor the point, but I wanted to say that tension for me really came down to what you're told is progress and what you feel is progress. And so when Ms. Dot asked me the question, have Black people made progress, or how have we made progress, I wanted to lean into looking back, how have we made progress that we could feel? And I wanted to start off, so if you're able to have one of these little handouts, the first one, the first blank is Sankofa. And it means you can't move forward without looking back. If you actually are close enough to the front, you can actually see I have it tattooed on my chest because it's the first thing I see when I wake up and the last thing I see before I go to bed. And I just root everything I do in that because I know our history. I know we stand in the footsteps of Malcolm, Martin, and Majeska Simpkins, and we are all better off for it. But we also still have so far to go. And so for me, instead of succumbing to the apathy, looking around saying, oh, everyone's fought so hard, but yet we've gone so little, I instead say that we should embrace our profound legacy of taking a leap of faith. And what does that mean for me? Well, time after time after time, Black people have made a way out of no way, and I believe we can do it again today. And so that first leap of faith I'm talking about is, how do we have the faith to believe that the Creator has endowed all of us with the ability to imagine the progress we want to see? Not just the politicians, love you, Mayor Chris, but He gave it to all of us. And I want to put an even finer point on it. We don't have to accept what we're told, that's all we can get. If we see something we want to change, let's change it. The politicians and political parties work for us, and it's time for us to take our power back and act like it. The second leap of faith I think we need to take is to have faith in our ability to do something about the issues in our community. I mentioned, well, it was mentioned in my introduction that I ran for State House. And in my first event, almost exactly 2 years ago, I invoked a Bible verse that I hold very close to my heart, Philippians 4:13. And it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I remember it says all things, not just the easy things. And I'll say this, I'm only 31, but it ain't been wrong yet. And so for me, I think all of us need to remember that we can do the hard things. And when we do, We're preparing for an unyielding journey of resilience. And so when everybody talks about changing the world, it's not just going to be done at the ballot box in November. I know we had a primary yesterday, but we need to do more than just vote. And so people ask, oh, well, how do you know I can do that? I'm just a normal everyday person. Well, I know for most of us here in this room, we are heirs to being able to do hard things. I know resilience is in my blood because we would not be here if our ancestors were not. For many of us, there is an unbroken line directly back to slavery, back to Charleston, across the Atlantic Ocean, back to Africa. And yet here we are. We should honor that and channel that every day. And I'll just tell you a bit of my own personal experience. In the last year alone, I have faced death threats. I've been called stupid to my face and been called worse behind my back. But you know what I do? I plant my feet on the ground, dust my shoulders off, and laugh because they don't know who my mama is. They don't know that my grandfather built the house that I live on and has planted the foundation that I build my farm on today. We've done hard things before, and you ain't gonna stop me from doing this hard thing. And I'll say this is something, once again, we need to go back to history because I'm not new. Fannie Lou Hamer, back in the 60s, she faced terrorism while just trying to vote. But she said she was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and guess what? I am too. And I don't think I'm alone. And so, like I said, I'm gonna be short, and I'm gonna start wrapping up, but I would just say, right here, right now, this is each and every one of your resolute calls to action. Because it is time to get to work. And it's not just about the what kind of progress we want to see, but it's also about how we do it. And for me, I know I was very specific to put that I have a sustainable farm. It means it's going to go on beyond my lifetime, just like it went on beyond my grandfather's lifetime and his father's lifetime. And so it's going to go beyond me. But we also want the community change to be the same way, right? And so I just go back to the old African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And then another thing I just wanted to leave you with is, okay, so we all see what's going on, but we always asking, who's going to do something about it? Well, I'll just say this, your silence won't protect you. And those are the words of Audre Lorde, but I'll say this, while silence won't protect you, what can we do? To feel true progress, we can embrace love and build power in our communities. I think Martin Luther King said it best, but power without love is reckless and abusive. Love without power is sentimental and anemic. So for me, I think progress comes when we have both again. Power in our communities, guided by love for each and every one of us. And so on that note, thank you, and that is how we can feel progress, Ms. Dot.
Box sales, where are you? Y'all know I love my children. They don't have to be mine by birth. Come on, come on. Stand over here by me so they can see. Come on. Okay, look at these hairstyles. Now, it was Sneely girl, that it? What happened with the girl? All right, want to talk to us a little bit?
Good afternoon. My name is Erica Griffin. I am the owner of Ahead of Time Beauty Salon located in Greenwood, South Carolina. I have been in the industry for over 36 years. I'm originally from Plainfield, New Jersey, but I moved to South Carolina in '89. Now, history of African American hair. First of all, it does not have a lot of moisture in it. This is why oil sheens and greases and moisturizers were created. We have moisture in our skin, and that's where melanin comes from. Okay, that's the only difference in hair. There's not one better than the other. They're just approached different ways. I'm also an educator and platform artist for Design Essentials. Has anyone ever heard of Design Essentials? Yeah. All right, so I stand on stage and speak about hair every day. One little tidbit I would like to add about African-American hair is back in the slavery days, you know how you see the cornrows braids, like this young little gentleman right here? The slaves would braid their hair. Now, it looks just like just styles, but what they were maps. They were maps on how to escape. They also placed food inside of the braids, like rice, so they would have something to eat. All right? Do you want to say anything else about the hair?
He turned around and modeled his hair. Look, turn. Look at his hair. Keep turning. Keep turning. Okay. All right.
If you don't mind, I would like to give just a little history. Has anyone here ever heard of the Buffalo Soldiers? All right. Did you know that there was the first African-American female Buffalo Soldier by the name of Cathay Williams? No? Yes, yes, yes. All right. So basically what happened when the military came into town and they were offering for African Americans to join the military, they offered them three things: a way out of poverty, travel, and money. Cathay Williams was born into slavery, and she was a house slave, something that she was not happy with or proud of. So when the opportunity came that was being offered to the men, she said, I want that too. I want to travel. I want money in my pocket. I want a way out of poverty. So what she did, she had a cousin and a best friend, and she enlisted in the United States Army as William Cathy. It didn't hurt that she was 6'2". So knowing about the Army, when you enlist, you have to have a full physical. But physicals back then were not the way they are now. If you were black and you had a strong back, there you go. Cathay Williams served in the United States Army as Private William Cathy for 3 years. Now, during her tours with the Buffalo Soldiers, which I want to just stop to say that they were called the Buffalo Soldiers by the Indians because they fought with bravery. They fought fearless. And it didn't hurt that they had hair like a buffalo. So like I said, Cathy Williams served for 3 years in the United States Army. And during those travels, she could not tend to herself as us women do. So she had a lot of complications and went to the hospitals from time to time, but her secret was never revealed. She had her friend and her cousin, whenever she would have to bathe or use the restroom, they would basically shield her. They would go off behind trees so she would have the privacy so no one would find her secret. Well, during her third and last year of serving in the United States Army, she went to a doctor complaining of her back, her knees, and that doctor did a thorough physical on her. And you already know what he found out, that she was a woman. So he reported it back. When she got back to the group of men that she was stationed with, they treated her very cruel. They outcast her. And the generals, all of them, they treated her mean because basically she pulled the wool over everyone's eyes. So she was relieved on a, dishonorable discharge. I'm sorry, thank you. On a dishonorable discharge, but she never received any pension. Never. So Cathay Williams packed up her things and moved to Pueblo, Colorado, where she opened up her own boarding house. She cooked, she cleaned, and she took care of people, which is the same thing she did when she was a house slave. She met a man, fell in love. They got married. Who can tell me what they think happened next? He took everything from her. Her clothes, her cattle, her jewelry, everything that she had, he stole it from her. What do you think she did? They buried him. Although that's going through all of our minds, but what she did was she called the police and had him arrested. Then she took whatever she had left and moved to Trinidad, Colorado, where she opened up another business as a seamstress. Yeah. Cathay Williams had diabetes, so all of her toes were amputated. Now, reading the history of her, it doesn't say exactly when she passed away or exactly how she passed away. But what I do know and what I do love about Cathay Williams is she was very strong. She was very determined. She was not trying to be a man by enlisting in the United States Army. She just wanted to be fairly offered the same thing. And when she left the military, she still carried on with her life. Yes, she started out as a house slave, and that probably was not the best thing to her, but she took what she learned and she added it to her life later and became a success. I love this story, and I love telling this story because, number one, I am a Buffalo soldier riding with the Spartanburg chapter. They rode horses. I ride a motorcycle, and I'm very good at riding my motorcycle. So I just want to leave this little tidbit. If you are going through something that you're not too happy about, it could be your job, it can be anything. I just want to tell you, you're being molded. You're being molded into something greater. So the other word I want to use is patience. Have your patience. Because what you learn now, it's going to help you in the end. It'll either help you not to do it or to do it. Once again, my name is Erica Griffin. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. Happy Black History.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Griffin. Now, these boys, they are from the elementary school under the principal, Mr. Salzman. Now, each one of them hairdo and their little outfits have earned them because they are brave. Like she's saying, they are very brave. They come up here, they wins $25 each. Wow. Wow.
Just at this time, I'd like to call Polly Moore up to the stage. I believe she has something for us. At least Miss Dot said you had something for us.
I'm going to do a poem. I'm going to read a poem. And I think just about everybody in here know Maya Angelou. She was a world-famous author. She was a poet, dancer, singer, activist, and a scholar. As a youth, she didn't speak for 5 years. I mean, she was mute. And there was reason. I don't, the little bit that I have read, this woman, phenomenal. But she did so many things. But for 5 years, she didn't even say a word. And when she was of age, she spoke in 6 languages. I can only speak 1. Her famous quote was, "Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better." And she wrote 167 poems. And one of my favorite from her, I love Still I Rise, but I love Phenomenal Woman. But as I read this poem, I want my ladies to act it out. You didn't know that, did you? I know y'all can do it. Okay. Phenomenal Woman. Many people wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please. And to a man, the fellas stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's me. I'm not through. Hold the claps. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. Come on, y'all. Come on now. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say it's the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my chest, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about. I have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hands, the need of my care. Because I'm a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's me. And I want all the ladies to stand right now. Come on. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hands, the need of my care. Because I'm a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's me. That's you. That's us. Phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's us.
We're going to have our keynote speaker today. And her daughter is going to introduce her and tell you something about her, and she's going to speak to us.
Hello, my name is Madison Miller, and I have the pleasure of introducing my mom, Shantae Miller. Previously the Director of Training and Development for Washington Prime Group, she was the first African and first female General Manager of Anderson Mall and Mall of Georgia Crossing. Before her role as General Manager, she served as a store manager of Belk from 1997 through 2018. My mom currently serves on several boards and committees, including Spartanburg Housing Board of Commissioners, United Way African American Leader Society, Women United of Spartanburg, Salvation Army Executive Board, Tri-County Technical College Board of Visitors, American Heart Association Go Red for Women Executive Committee, and the Converse University Alumni Board. Yes, she is one busy lady. She also served on Chamber of Commerce, Board of Directors, Friends of Healthy Learners, Greenville's Women's Leadership Network, Museum Railroad Historic Board, Student Improvement Council, Greenwood's Women Leadership Council, Business Development Committee, and Women United of Anderson. She was a member of the Rotary Club of Anderson, where she previously served as the Literacy Chair and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Chair, and also served as Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Champion of Washington Prime Group. In my opinion, the mother figure plays the instrumental and a pivotal role in a child's life and upbringing, because she is the most significant role model for the child. Mom, you are a superhero. My mom was the winner of 2017 Go Girl Award, 2019 Women's Leadership Award, 2021 Upstate Black History Maker, and 2022 awarded the Tamika Pierce African American Leadership Award by United Way of Piedmont, and much more. She is a graduate of the Riley Institute in Furman University Class 30 Leadership, South Carolina, Leadership Anderson Class of 36, and Leadership Greenwood Class of 2016. She received her Bachelor's of Science degree from Converse University. In her spare time, my dad and mom manage Miller Time Productions with DJ Miller Time, a DJing business where they DJ and host events. She also loves motivational speaking, serving on parent-teacher organization boards, volunteering, and spending time with me, my dad, James, and my brothers, James Jr. and Christopher. My mom's selfless love towards our family and committees she serves can never be replaced by anything or anyone in the world. Mom, you are a true inspiration, and you are Black history. My mom and hero, Shante Miller.
Oh, let's get it right. Good afternoon. Well, thank you so much to my lovely daughter. My husband always says we're so much alike. So listening to her speak, I see what he means, other when she's getting on my nerves. But to the mayor, Sam, councilmen, committee, friends, citizens of Honea Path, thank you so much for having me today. I am super excited to be here. As I researched the town of Honea Path, it said, little town with a big heart. And being here today, I can see why that name rings a bell right here in town. It is Black History Month, but when I think of Black History Month, I think of a celebration of really coming together where we've celebrated all year long. When I think of Black History Month, I think of us being culturally aware. It's something that we should all strive for. But what if we took the ambition just a little bit further? Learn what it takes to develop cultural respect, competency, awareness, while gaining insight into the Black experience in America. See, sometimes learning history, we often think of the most recognizable Black history makers. Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, Dr. Martin Luther King. Yes, they are powerful people and significant in their rights. But did you know of Robert Smalls from the Civil War? The average American does not know him. Smalls was a slave of the Confederate transport ship when he led the uprising that freed the people being held aboard. They would subsequently sail north for freedom. This led to Abraham Lincoln reconsidering the use of African American soldiers in the Civil War, something that most people were opposed to. Smalls would later go to serve in the United States Congress. Did you know of Lewis Lattimore? You knew that Thomas Edison created the first light bulb that worked. But did you know his light bulb would not only last just a few days? Imagine going home and on Monday and Tuesday, you could flick your lights and they come on. But on Wednesday and Thursday, you could not. This was definitely not long enough or practical. Enter Lewis Lattimore, the son of an escaped slave and inventor in his own right, who created the fragments that extended the life of the light bulb. This made the light bulb cheaper, more efficient, and making it possible to be used in homes today. Did you know of Katherine Johnson Coleman, a mathematician, American calculated orbital mechanic that also served at NASA? The space agency noted her historical as one of the first African-American women to work as a NASA scientist. See, there are people and things that entrap our lives that we don't even know about. We have to make sure that we are reaching further than just those names that we hear about. The fate of the enslaved people in the United States would divide the nation during the Civil War. And after the war, the racist legacy of the slavery would persist. Movements of resistance, including the Underground Railroad, the Montgomery bus boycott, the Selma Montgomery March, and the Black Lives Matter movement. See, we can't go forward without looking back. Through all it, Black leaders, artists, and writers have emerged to shape the character and identity of our nation today. Can you imagine where you would be without the Super Soaker? I know my nephews can't. How about peanut butter, the potato chip, the refrigerator, or household items like your security system, caller ID, improvements on the railroads, hair products, traffic lights, the elevator. See, the elevator used to just, somebody had to mechanically roll the elevator up. Somebody had to stand there to get you up. But here comes Alexander Miles, a black man, who helped to make the elevator automatically run. We also invented things like treatment for glaucoma, research that led to the invention of the fax machine, fiber optic cables that runs through our cities and towns today, web animation, which we enjoy so much. We are Black history. When you think about Black history is not just my history. It's not just your history. It's your history and your history and your history. It is the world's history. When we think about Black history, we have to think about Black history as we are celebrating diversity. We are creating a sense of belonging. Think about all of those inventions. That is a celebration. It's not just for Black people. It's a celebration for our world. We've all felt the sting of being left out. But while exclusion hurts, belonging is the palm of everything that we do. It reminds me of a story. As a young girl, my grandmother used to make me walk up the street with her or go to the grocery store and we would walk. And she would always say, you speak to everybody you see. Now me, thinking as a young child, she'll say, did you speak to Miss Sally? But she said, don't you walk by there and don't speak to them. I remember as I was getting on the plane one day and I started speaking to people as I was getting on, I'm at the grocery store, people start asking me if I worked there because I'm saying, hey, how are you? As a child, I didn't know what that meant. But as an adult, I thought about, my grandmother was teaching me something in that walk. She was teaching me to recognize, I see you. I celebrate you. You belong here. That walk at the time as a kid reminded me, I just had to do something. But as an adult, it reminds me to not keep blinders on, to recognize people in front of you. When you think of belonging, a lot of times you think it's about fitting in. I want you to think about something. Think about the time that you were somewhere where you didn't belong, where you felt like you didn't fit in. Maybe you were the only Black person in the room, the only white person in the room. You were the only male in the room or the only female in the room. You were the only left-hander in the room. You were the only athlete in the room. It doesn't matter, but you did not feel like you fit in this room. Now, I want you to think about a time where you felt like you did fit, where you belong. You could be your authentic self. You could let your hair down. You were in your happy place. When I think about that story, somebody asked me that question one day. I thought about, man, where was I in a room where I felt like I didn't belong? So often as the corporate world, I'm always in a room where people don't look like me. But that's okay. That gives me an opportunity to change the dynamics in the room. You have the opportunity to change a dynamic in the room. But when I go back to that place where I fit in most, I thought about, man, when I'm home with my family, I probably don't have my hair done. I don't have any lashes on. I don't have Spanx on. I'm singing at the top of my lungs. My husband and daughter remind me that I can't sing, but I'm still singing. I'm free to be me. And we should allow the world free to be them. I love when Ms. Dot brought the kids up to talk about their hair. We hear so often about hair all the time, right? But that's our freedom of expression. True belonging is a feeling of acceptance, even when there's no one like you in a group. When it comes to innovation, creativity, progress, we need is collective uniqueness, an environment in which leads us to feel accepted and valued, both as a part of a team, but as an individual. I go back to say that Black history is all of our history. You don't just cut your alarm system on in February. You don't flicker your lights in February. You don't eat peanut butter and jelly in just February, right? You're eating it all year long. So why not celebrate the inventions of Black history all year long? But to understand cultural, we must have cultural respect. protecting and advancing the inherent rights and the tradition of our culture. We must have cultural competence, an appreciation for the difference in our cultures, and guard it against acceptance and belief and the actions of the norm. But we must be cultural aware, demonstrating sensitivity, embracing similarity and difference in culture, and using that to take action. Cultural competencies and respect is a lifelong project. This is not a sprint. We're on a journey together. And it starts today by making a difference. See, when you think about history and belonging and creating a culture of diversity, we have exclusion, we have differentiations, we have similarities. Oh, because you're not the same. Well, you can come in this group, but you're going to have to change so you can fit in this group with me. That's not letting me be my authentic self. I told you at the story that I'm so often in a room where it may not look like me, but guess what? That's okay. I still bring my authentic self. Belonging, its uniqueness is valued as painted stripes needed from a herd. I think about gazelles and zebras, right? They're two different, still animals running on four legs. But what if the gazelle didn't let the zebra in because of the stripes? Vice versa. What if the zebra said, oh, you can come in, gazelle, but you got to paint on black and white stripes before you can belong in this group? I wouldn't want to go. Would you? A focus on diversity can only go as far as the next step if assimilation and exclusion is a point. On the other hand, uniqueness is the fruitfulness if everyone is allowed to be genuinely unique together. The ultimate purpose isn't to make everybody the same or to say your differences are great, but they need to stay separate. Instead, we want to have each person fully be themselves and fully appreciate for who they are in uniqueness. I can only imagine when Oprah Winfrey or somebody was going into the room with their authentic self and said, I want to go and I want to be a news television person, or I want to do a television show. And what if they said, oh, Oprah, you can come, but you're going to have to change. She wouldn't be who she was today. Belonging might seem a simple little thing, but when you have been excluded, you know it packs a heavy punch. Humans are social creatures. We crave acceptance and inclusion. And when we feel valued, we are happier, healthier, and more productive citizens. In short, we shine. Diversity is about differences and accepting those differences, encouraging those differences, and including those differences. That is how we use our superpower. My daughter said, Mama, you're my superhero. I'm not a hero, but I use my superpowers. My power is to inspire our children, to reward them and remind them that we all have superpowers and that we are all superheroes. I see, and I think back to what Dr. King said, understanding and inspiring us daily to start where we are. Meet people where they are. He understood that the power of greatness lived within each of us. Everybody, he said, can be great because anybody can serve and make a difference. In Dr. King, I have a dream speech. He said, let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you, my friend, we have the difficulties of today and tomorrow. I still have a dream. It's a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day the nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream today. While we don't need an excuse to learn about the contributions and the importance of Black history, Black History Month is certainly the perfect time for you to start, making it a year-long habit. Because see, Black history is all of our history. From trailblazing activists like Serena Williams, Tracy Ellen Ross, former First Lady Michelle Obama, to civil rights leaders like Dr. King, Ida Wells, Mary Church, to transcendent authors like Maya Angelou, Anne Prairie, and Jarvis J. Masters. The stars of our favorite TV shows and Netflix movies like Viola Davis and Denzel Washington, just to name a few. Black culture is a part of our everyday lives. Simply put it, it's about American as the apple pie. My charge for you today is to understand that Black history is a celebration for all. We must honor and continue to shout out as loud as we can those of Black people who make significant improvements in our lives, who have been neglected from their accomplishments in every endeavor throughout our history as a part of who we are. Kobe Bryant said, "It's the one thing that you can control. You are responsible for how people remember you and how they don't. So don't take it lightly." My charge to you today is to remind the world that Black history is not just our history. Black history is an American history. It's a nation history. It's all of our people history. It should not only be celebrated. See, February needs to be the month where we're celebrating what we've done all year long. How we talked about it, educated our children all year long. So again, when you go home and you fix that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, when you flicker that light or open your refrigerator out to get that frozen chicken, I want you to remember that Black history is all of our history. Thank you.